Hello, hello, hello.
Are we?
We're just checking the volume.
Oh, okay. Should I laugh? I wait.
Lights, camera, microphone, slapping, action. What's going on, everybody?
Welcome to the Energy and Heart podcast.
Ew, what the fuck? I feel like we're changing the cadence of our intro.
I thought we were trying to get into
Welcome.
it faster, too.
The Energy and Heart podcast. Ta-da! Oh wait, hosted by Steph and Jiggy. Today is August
27th?
25th, and we haven't recorded since July.
A lot has happened.
I think that things worked out perfectly. We were trying to figure out how to release the podcast, and we were playing around with these ideas of doing it all at once, like all the pre-recorded episodes at once, or go weekly. And I'm really glad that we went weekly. I was in Korea, and we were able to make the announcement while I was in Korea, and Steph came through. Like, I ordered a postcard, she and Megan helped out, shout outs to Megan, and then the announcement was made, and now it's August. The podcast is finally released to the public. Everybody loves it, of course. And here we are now. We're in present time. It's August.
And it's going to be released in August. Wait.
In September.
This happens every time.
Well, next week is already September. But that's like a week later, not like 4 weeks later. Yeah. So we're not too far off. Okay, so we have a topic in mind, and we're just going to see how it goes.
Yeah, okay.
Do we want to check in first? Like, do they want to know how we're doing, or...
I want to know how you're doing. Like whether
that's just like a loaded question.
Share as little as possible if you'd like.
I just came back from Korea last week, and I didn't realize that it's only been last week. I came back last week, last Monday.
Dude, what a month this...
It's been a whole year.
What a month this day has been.
So I came back from Korea last Monday. I was in Korea for 3 weeks, and the 3 weeks went both slow and fast. It's been quite a trip. I'm still processing it. A lot has happened, and now I'm just kind of like digesting everything and kind of experiencing what this new norm is like for me. I guess before we get started, I do want to dedicate this podcast to my friend Thomas. He passed away extremely suddenly. There was an accident, and it was extremely unfortunate. No one saw it coming. I was told that he was just hit by a drunk driver, but recently we found out that it's much more graphic than that. Yeah, very weird to process grieving my dad's passing as well as like a sudden passing of a friend. So yeah, that's just kind of like where I'm at in a very small mustard seed portion. You know I'm Christian when I talk about mustard seeds.
I was going to ask you what's the reference to the mustard seed.
It's in the Bible.
I'm clearly not Christian.
It's in the Bible.
No, I was going to like say something, but you know what?
Say it.
I was gonna ask you if you wanted to share like what you mean by like new normal, because like there is like a lot going on, and
new norm of I'm simultaneously going through a breakup as well as grieving my dad's passing, which was also sudden, and I'm also processing that like I don't have parents and I'm not even 30 years old yet, and when my mom passed away I was 20 and turning 21. My dad passes away and I'm 29 turning 30. And so when, these are ages where people already look forward to like 21 or turning 30. Like those are ages where people like have an idea of what that would look like. And then to suddenly lose a parent along with it is quite an interesting experience. And then to process, like I'm about to enter 30 and I have neither parents now. So I'm processing that. I'm processing, the complexities of a breakup. One of the heaviest things I've been feeling lately is that, my ex finally had her first pro debut as an MMA fighter. And that's something that we work together heavily towards together, and then like I couldn't be there at the fight, of course, and all this shit. I'm a little petty about it right now. Just processing that, like, you help somebody build a dream and you support them and bust your ass supporting them in their dream, and then once it finally happens you can't be there for it. I'm like very petty and salty about it right now. Just so much going on. I think it's time for me to rest, and that's a part of what we're gonna talk about today. I was thinking about it today, like a bitch been burnt out since she was a child. Like, life has been hard since I was a child. And like, even day of my mom's funeral, I went right back to school, you know? Like, I never, ever, ever stopped to take a break. And I'm allowing myself to do that now. So I'm in a weird resting place, and this is my first time having a conversation with another human being face to face for this long already. My energy might be a little bit different today, but I think that today's episode will be definitely also very much needed. So that's where I'm at. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. I just wanted to like make space for literally there's a segment every single episode that you like lean in just to check. But yeah, I just wanted to like make space for like what's really here for you. I feel like, you know, we talked about it before, like so many people, they, you know, act as if they have everything together, and sometimes we don't. And I think that part of this podcast is being real and honest about what your current experiences are. And so yeah, just grateful that you shared about that.
Guys, by this point, like, this is the 5th episode. I hope you understand we don't have it figured out. Like, and that's just what life is. Like, growing up, people are like, oh my god, they're so mature. By the time they're in their 20s and have a real job and like turning 30 and 40, they have it all figured out. They're so mature and professional. It's like, bitch, we are all confused. We've been lied to, and we don't have anything figured out. It's all a lie, guys. It's all a lie. It's all a lie.
I think the thing that's consistent is we definitely do our best. Yeah.
Humans, I bet God's just laughing at us. Like, humans are really just chickens with our heads cut off. Like, just trying to.
This is a very
out,
graphic. I can't wait for the edit. That was really graphic, dude.
That's an expression that people.
Chickens. Dude, I swear it was you that did a story series on Instagram about how we talk about animals. Like, we're just so graphic about... Yes!
Chewing the elephant or eating the elephant?
Or swallowing the toad first thing in the morning or something, or swallowing the frog.
Okay, I've never talked about frogs.
Oh, no, you've never talked about frogs, but I just thought of, like, another
I've never heard that.
Yeah, it's like, you do the hardest thing in the morning. This is what all the gurus tell us. Like, you swallow...
Can we leave animals alone? Lions and wolves and... Did you know... Did you know
what?
That a rather more vicious animal than a lion is a giraffe?
What?
Yeah, did you know that giraffes are actually like really fucking G?
No.
They can like kill all these animals.
That's actually kind of scary.
Yeah, there's a jiu-jitsu athlete who calls himself the giraffe, and we asked him why, and I was like, is it because you're really tall? Because he's gigantically tall.
Yeah.
He said that his professor back in Japan nicknamed him giraffe because they're much stronger, more vicious than like lions and...
Wolves.
Lions, wolves, bears, tigers.
Yeah, I guess you can't judge a book by its cover. Right?
And let's move on. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna check in too.
Yes, check in.
Dude, I was just thinking though, like, it'd be fun to make shirts with giraffes on them. Be a giraffe. I think that'd be kind of a cute shirt.
Be a G.
Okay, I'm gonna move on now. Things have been hard. But not in a I don't want to say like typical sense, but
it's supposed to be a tough podcast. I can feel it.
We really tried here. I think things have been hard, and it's related to what we're going to talk about today too. In a sense that like I have been in the last couple of weeks really trying to take care of my mental health. and actually really trying to rest. And my experience of this, like, I think I imagined it as like, oh my god, rest, it's like gonna be great. But my experience of rest in the last couple of weeks has actually been really like scary, because it's like I'm so used to just doing a bunch of things, like scheduling to do things all the time, that like one, having the very honest conversations with friends being like, hey, like I just don't have the bandwidth, like even though I committed to this, like, you know, a couple months ago to like come out for your birthday or come out to an event. The like guilt I think that I feel around like not following through with what I shared with friends. And then the second is that like rest feels like a detox. Like rest feels like it kind of feels like a weird like version of like a hangover or something. It's like I'm trying to like get through the day, but it's just like I know the concept of rest is really good for me, but it does not feel good in my body like right now. Yeah, so yeah, it's been tough to have the hard conversations with people, canceling, literally moving things. I literally just asked you today, like, can we move the podcast to later? And just feeling the like disappointment, and then just being like, you know, this is just, I trust that this is the way forward, that I have to maneuver that. But yeah, it just doesn't feel good. So yeah, but overall, like I am trusting that it is the direction that I need to move, and so like I think that brings me some semblance of peace. But outside of that, the physical experience of it is like kind of scary. So yeah, that's where I've been at. Yeah.
I want to say these things before I forget, because I know I will. My like this mastermind group that I'm in, we were talking about self-care. That was like the week's topic last week. And the question of the day was like, what are you gonna do to practice your self-care this week? And a lot of people talked about setting boundaries. What are they gonna communicate with team members or family or friends? Are people gonna go like get a massage, or more so like physical things like a facial, or go to the beach, go on vacation, like book a trip, like things like that, and or journal or meditate and things like that. Like very tangible practices. Like, what are you gonna do today? What are you gonna do this week in order to take care of yourself? And I looked at the list. They had like 6 things on the list. Like, what are you gonna do? And I was like, I'm not gonna do any of these things. Like it said, like journaling, meditating, time blocking, like all these things. And I'm like, I'm not gonna, because I was like, I'm not gonna schedule anything. I'm not gonna do any of these things. I'm gonna do it when I feel like doing it. Because I'm like, I've been journaling, I've been meditating, I've been exercising, I've been doing these things, I've been like resting throughout the day, like I've been doing these things, and at this time in my life right now, like I need like complete rest, as in like I cannot have expectations upon myself from other people as well as myself. Like, and I said that self-care started to come to a point, like the tasks of self-care, they know what I'm about to say is fire, so they over here doing all this shit. I know the mic's gonna pick it up.
You said it was fire. They're fire trucks.
Bitch, that's why I said it.
Oh, I'm really not on it today.
I was saying that like the tasks of self-care just started to really become another task on my to-do list. So I started to like almost forget why I was doing what I was doing, because it became more so like a habitual thing. It more so became a task to check off, like, oh, did I meditate today? Oh, okay. Oh, I forgot to journal. Oh, I forgot to read books, like stuff like that. Yeah. It just became more so about another thing to do and another thing to accomplish, versus like doing it with the intention of like, this is what I'm doing to enjoy, this is what I'm doing to rest, and like re-energize and refuel. So yeah, I looked at the list and I was like, I'm not gonna prioritize any of these things. Like if I feel like doing it, I will do it, but there's a lot of freedom in that too, and I think that there's rest and freedom as well.
Yeah, I think what's important for the audience to hear and what you're saying is that rest can turn into something that you have to do, but I don't think it's about that. It's about being. Like, you have to be, and you have to like actually allow for what's coming up in your body in order to determine what to do. Right?
Yes.
So it's like, what are you actually listening to?
Yes.
And I think that's the voice to like actually pay attention to, which I
Yes.
think gets lost in all the things that we are constantly doing that we don't know how to like actually like be present.
Mm-hmm.
Like, most of us don't know how to trust our own body's like signals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're so used to
Because
doing stuff.
you gotta work through it. Grind, persevere. No one cares. Work harder. Your body hurts. You need rest. You need water. Quit being a bitch.
Yeah.
Okay, so
We're always busy.
busy doesn't mean productive. Okay, stop distracting me. That we gotta segue into that. Okay. All right. So today's podcast, I was telling Steph that while I was listening to the previous episode, which is like, chef's kiss, so good, so good. If you haven't seen episode 4, go watch it. In it, towards the end of it, I mentioned that I was on some trippy shit in July. I don't know why the fuck I said what I said, but I said that I find myself being intimidated by these women who are my ideal types. And so that my ideal types that I mentioned in the last episode were driven, they're goal oriented, they're even like career driven. I do love that. They're ambitious, they're consistent. And when I meet women in that power, I said that I find myself to be intimidated by them, and I didn't really know why. And then after listening to myself talk many times through editing the podcast, I realized that I sat with it and I said, is that really true in my heart? Like, is it intimidating? Like, am I really intimidated? And something that I even said in the previous episode was like, maybe I'm looking at a mirror of myself and I might be intimidated by my own power, because I too am like powerful in my own way. But I don't think that's true either. I think that there's like a truth to what I said, maybe 10-20%. But while I was away in Korea and I had all this solitude time to myself away from people, I had time to think about this, and I realized that I'm not intimidated by their power. It's that I am triggered by their, I don't want to say triggered by their power, triggered by their like busyness. I'm triggered by the position they put themselves in. So it's not about like really their power. It's just kind of what I presume their lifestyle to be like, which is probably busy. The reason why that is, I thought further about it, and the reason why I'm like triggered by it, which I didn't know how much this impacted me, but recently I reconnected with an ex. I don't think she claims herself to be my ex, but she came back into my life, and I didn't realize that one of the many things that she put me through is never being present with me. We dated in college, and she was like the president of this and that. The dean of the college loved her. Like, we were in the same major, so we were in the same college, and I know the dean always loved her. Like, job fairs, she would always be like, oh, how many interviews did you get? Like, how many resumes did you give out? Because we were in the same college, so we would go to the same job fairs, and she would always be so competitive and things like that. And like, she would always have to go to meetings, she would always have to do this and that, and like every time she talked about connecting with somebody, networking with somebody, any friends that she has, any professors that she might have conversations with, and she would tell me about the interaction. I picked this up. She would always say like, oh, they love me. Dean Blad loves me. Oh, she loves me. And I one time picked it up and I was like, you always say that other people love you, but you never say that you love other people. And at the time, I thought that was quite egoistic. But what triggers me about the busyness is that I felt as though she was never present with me. Like, we would when we did spend time together, she was like always on her phone. Her phone's always going off. Notifications were always on. The alarm, the sound was always on. Always checking her phone. Always like, oh, gotta go to the next thing. Or as soon as we meet up, she would be like, oh, I gotta end it this time because I have this other thing to do. There was always something for her to do after us spending time together, and that made me feel like, well, either our interaction and our time together has to be rushed, or maybe our time together isn't that really significant to her, or like what, like I don't know. Quality time is one of my love languages, and she just made me feel like I wasn't worthy of her time and energy. And so it's just like, I never felt like she was present with me. I felt like I had to rush everything that I wanted to say. She talked behind my back to my other friend and like said that I was clingy, but it's like, I wasn't clingy, bitch. Like, you were literally never fucking available, but then you would show up to my dorm room drunk telling me you love me, bitch. What the... Anyways, as you can tell, I'm pretty pissed about it. And for like, ever since then, there are a lot of other things that she put me through that kind of broke my heart. And even to a point where I hated being gay because of her. I felt as though I wasn't worthy of her love because of her schedule. And I felt like I wasn't worthy of her love because she went right back to her toxic ex-boyfriend once she just kind of ghosted me. And so she broke my heart in many different ways. And I didn't realize that one of the heavier things... I was so fixated on the whole, like, I don't want to be gay shit. Like, it's hard being gay shit. That I didn't realize that, like, her not being present with me and her always being so busy was another thing that, like, triggers me. And so this actually also came up for me because I'm like hypersensitive to things now. I'm like, I feel as though I'm on my period 24/7 now. Like, I am hypersensitive to a lot of things. And one of the things that our friend group talked about when it comes to our time of the month is that, like, are we overreacting, or are we actually even more in tune with what we know bothers us? And so I'm hypersensitive to a lot of things right now, and I'm realizing that when people say that they're busy, the hurt Jiggy from college is like, oh, this person's busy, so I shut down. I shut down. I close up. I suddenly don't want to bother the person. I don't even want to really talk to the person. I don't know how to respond to them. I don't know how to care for them. I don't say much when they say it. As soon as they say that they're busy or whatever, like they had a tough day, I just nod my head and I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to say next? And I just sit there quietly and I'm just nodding my head. And I realized that it's because of her. So yeah, like in the last episode, I mentioned that I met this chick and already I was intimidated by her, even though I only saw her from afar and we didn't even get to talk. I'm realizing now, like, that's pretty unfair. If I'm single now and if I'm trying to date new women or whatever in the future, like, it's kind of unfair of me to make that presumption about somebody else. Especially if that's the type, if that's my type. My type is career-driven, ambitious women. Of course they're gonna be busy, but I think my hope is that I hope to be with somebody who is very ambitious, but also knows how to prioritize relationships. Prioritize the things that are important to the person. Since my dad passed, like, one of the most important things in life I've learned is relationships in general. It's connection with people, it's time with people, and joy and more laughter and making more memories. And so, like, I hope to find somebody who gets mad shit done and just, like, really takes their potential to the next level always. And at the same time has patience, has grace with self, with others, with her own schedule, like, knows when to take a break and how to take a break. Like, don't bring a fucking laptop to vacation. Don't tell me that you gotta, like, go on to the next thing. I don't think that'll be good for me. So I hope you're out there. Please.
Turns we are now manifesting, so
in today's episode we're actually gonna set up Jiggy's Hinge profile. I can't date somebody. I keep thinking about her. She triggers the shit out of me.
Dude, how can she not? Like you're talking about heartbreak on multiple levels. This is not like I'm breaking up with you. This is like screaming like I don't have time for you. I'm not going to make time for you. Like I'm only available on my schedule. There's no level of compromise.
Yeah.
Like in the relationship. So like of course it's triggering. Of course like that type of experience like comes up for you. I think it's really valid to be experiencing that.
Mm. You know what?
Yeah.
I think it sucks to have to time block interactions. Like schedule, not like Zoom calls. Zoom calls is bit whatever.
Yeah.
But like spending time with people you love, it sucks that nowadays we have to like time block stuff like that. Like again, going back to freedom, like I wish that there's abundance in freedom, and freedom is abundance. Like I wish people make fun of me for wanting to spend as much time as possible with my friends because I love my friends.
She literally legit she said we all hang out on a Tuesday, right? For Tuesday service. And then we finish hanging out and she's like, you know, it doesn't have to be just one time in the week. Like it could be tomorrow
that
too.
doesn't make sense to me. Why not? If we
like,
can, why not?
No, I'm just pointing it out. I think like I love that. I love that about you because I think that that's what has actually like shifted the dynamic like of our friend group.
This is why I wanted us to live in the same building to maximize our time together.
Dude,
because I think that like I'm also from New York and I hate wasting my time. I always thought that like the MTA public transportation is a waste of fucking time. Like it takes like 1-2 hours just to get to the city. Nah, hell fucking no. But to drive like 30 minutes to an hour and then dependent on traffic to see your friend, what the fuck?
Welcome to LA.
No!
To California.
No.
That used to be us though.
Yes, that's why we made the changes.
Okay, so for context, we did used to drive out like to see each other like that.
Or
and then
meet halfway. What the fuck?
In a random McDonald's like.
One time they looked up some coffee shop in the hood and I was like, have you ever been to that area? Like, are you sure you want to be there? They're like, oh, it just looks nice. I'm like, it looks nice on the inside, but the surrounding areas is the hood. Trust me, I've been there. Oh my god.
But yeah, we did have that conversation in the car one time when we were deciding whether or not to move. Well, I was going to move and you were potentially going to move to Philly.
Oh yeah.
There was a time that we were considering that, and then there was a point where we were sitting in the car and Jiggy had come with me to go look at places, and then she started considering like maybe I'll move to LA, and then we were like, oh, maybe I can live in this building and you can live in this building. And then she looked at me and she was like, can I just be honest? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, we're never gonna drive to see each other, so bitch, we should move into the same building. And I was like, you know what, like,
parking is a thing. Looking for parking, making sure there's parking in LA is a thing, and I fucking hate it. There's another time you get to the destination and then you spend another 10 plus minutes. That's 10 plus minutes you could be spending time with your friends. Anyways, that's one of the best decisions we've ever made. Like that car conversation where I was like, this is honestly one of, like, this might be the only chance we have in our lives to do this, and I think if we're gonna do it, we gotta do it like 120%. Yeah. And I'm really glad that we did. And when we came to tour this apartment, there were a lot of people, and she was like, oh man, there's a lot of people here. And I was like, bitch, what's meant for us will come to us. And look at us.
She said trust.
Trust.
And now we're here.
Ta-da!
And now the podcast exists.
Ta-da!
And now we make breakfast for each other.
Ta-da! Today we grabbed breakfast. It was ta-da! It was really good. All right. Okay. Segue that into what we're gonna talk about today. Let's see you do it.
Bringing it back though to like what you were saying about like time and spending it with people. I honestly, like, I know we always talk about it. Bring it back to capitalism. Like, there's a sense of urgency. There's like like we feel like we don't have enough to what? Like, it is always
fucking
that.
no,
like,
I agree with you. I'm just huffing and puffing at capitalism.
And like, I think when I was listening to what you were sharing, like, I feel really sad because
I know how to segue into this.
Okay,
Go on.
Go off.
Man, hustle culture.
When in doubt, just start with.
Dude,
man,
when I was
hustle
first
culture.
entering like the entrepreneurial space, and they were talking about like, man, they're not gonna understand. You don't have time to hang out with friends and da 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 da. And like being busy equaled value. Being busy equals like meaning something. It was like you have a purpose in life. You're an entrepreneur. You're always busy. You're always working. You don't have time for friends. You don't have time for family, and you have to make sacrifices and blah. And that's the narrative. It's like capitalism and hustle culture seems as though you have to be busy and too busy for relationships and building memories, because the hustle and grind is much more important than creating relationships and making memories, which again, we talked about it like 2-3 episodes. Honestly, we talk about it every episode, but people only live by their own narratives they have experienced. And honestly, there's, I don't think, very many examples out there of entrepreneurs who are showing what it's like to put in the hours and work really hard. Not even put in the hours. I don't even want to fucking say that anymore, because there are entrepreneurs who work like 4 hours a week. Brian from episode 1.
Still 4 hours a day. But he got to a place.
Right.
Yeah.
But like, there's gotta be more examples of what it can look like. Because if more entrepreneurs keep saying, you gotta be busy, you gotta be busy, you gotta be busy, and you don't have time for friends and blah 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 blah, then they're just gonna live that way forever. Not many people in the world are critical thinkers, and so not many people like question these things in life, and only think that like the thing that's sexy, the thing that's marketable, the thing that most people talk about must be the only way of life. But there's no one out there really showing what it's like to balance all these things. And when I say balance, I don't mean like equal, because I know there are people, there's no balance, there's no work-life balance. I know people say that. I think balance just looks differently for everybody. Mm-hmm. And that's just what it is.
Yeah. I think there's respecting seasons that you're in.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think there's a misconception that people are, especially because of social media, and you see people post on a schedule. So like, that's why it looks like every single day, right? But like, realistically, like, most people are going through different seasons. Like, if you think about this whole last month that we weren't recording, like, for the podcast, right? Like, it was a very specific season, right? And so I think part of the process when we are working towards this sort of balance, it's like going back to what we talked about earlier, where you have to listen to your body. You have to know like what's like going on. You have to respect that, because otherwise it's going to show up in a different way. Mm-hmm. Like, it will always, the stress, like the pain, like the hurt, the feelings, all of that will always show up in some form. So if it's not showing up now and you're choosing not to let it show up now, it's going to leak somewhere else.
Right.
You know? And so I feel like part of the process that people have to like integrate is making space for all the feelings and emotions, and like really being with the present like experience. Mm-hmm. And I think we're both in that constant journey of doing that. But what you were saying earlier actually made me like really sad, like how hearing you share how hurt you were like by this person that like didn't make time for you, actually like was really heartbreaking for me to hear, because like I'm currently in this stage. It's very real. And like during the times that we were not recording, like that's what I was like working through, was like with Cato. It's like me being really busy, and you know how busy I am too. I'm sure you feel it from downstairs. And like you know, I think Cato coming into my life like made me realize like, oh, I need to completely redo my entire like mentality around work, And like I think us moving here also made me like rethink my mentality around like work, right? Because I was just like, dude, how the fuck do we live on the same building and sometimes I don't freaking see you, like, and I'm just like, oh, because I'm always scheduling by the hour, scheduling by the minute, like working all the time, like for a long time.
We don't have to always see each other.
No, I'm not saying we have to, but I'm just saying like, wow, like it feels weird to me that I don't like, because I'm so tired doing all this other stuff, like it's just like I don't even like see you, you know, unless we have Noah. Then that's a different story. But yeah, like I was just thinking about how like me, like I was just thinking about the person that you like used to date, and I was just like, dude, that is like that explains who I am / was, because I'm moving away from that. But like you have a choice as a very busy person, as somebody who's like doing all this stuff. Like the reality is like you have a choice to prioritize like things in your life, and like unfortunately for some people like work is the priority. And I think what I'm trying to shift into is like moving away from like work being the priority and like putting my relationships like first, you know, because like that isn't going to be a forever thing. And that's what I keep getting when I hear you share about your story, is just realizing like, man, like there is more important things than like success at work, you know? And like instead of deciding like, hey, I want to like cram my schedule with this stuff or like force my partner to like deal with it, it's like, dude, you have a choice. You can minimize the amount of time you're working. You can be more effective about that. You can like delegate more stuff. And like I don't think I understood like how important that was until like he was very upfront about how painful that actually is. Yeah. So
Kato's a Libra, so we just want to be loved.
Dude, the whole time you were sharing
our love.
The whole time you were sharing, I was like,
damn Libras.
I was like, why does this sound way too fucking familiar? And I was like I wouldn't say I was triggered, but I was like, ooh, this is very real. You know, this is hearing second, third accounts of this experience. That's not just from my partner, so it's very serious.
It's not that work is less important, because especially with what we do, I think that our work is directly correlated to our purpose, our passion, like our own magic, our own contribution to the world. And so I think that it's grander than just saying we're burned out from working a 9 to 5. Not saying that there's anything wrong with a 9 to 5. I'm just saying that when you run your own business, you have to think
it's a little bit
of
different.
all the things. You are literally constantly thinking, working, can't even shower in peace. Like, it's the truth. Is it just me?
No, I also be in the shower. So.
I have meetings in the shower. Oh, business. Anyways, and I think that might make it a little bit harder as well to be like, but there's a world for us to save and people to help, and I know I have the capabilities in me to leave a grand impact in the world. How could I slow down and all of this stuff? And like, to say that we have to work less might also mean like that might lessen the impact that we might have in the world. Or I keep saying we, but I don't know how you feel about it. I don't know how you feel about it. How I feel is that if I work less, it's as if, like, if I'm not speaking enough, if I'm not making enough content, if I'm not connecting with people, if I'm not working on a project that I'm working on, then I'm like, man, I'm wasting my potential. I'm wasting my time on earth. What God gave me to do, like, I don't. But then I am currently in a place where a lot of the sermons that I'm listening to lately has been talking a lot about rest and leaning into God and trusting that, like, what is supposed to happen will happen. What God wants you to do right now, though, is to rest, so that when it happens, you're ready, so that you're energized, so that you have the headspace, the bandwidth to take care of all the responsibilities. More money, more problems. And so I'm leaning into trust in my rest right now, trusting that it's okay for me to take care of myself. Because if I do, I'm going to be ready for this next level once I come back. I have a thought, but I heard you looking, so I heard you looking. I heard you looking.
We're really at it today. I would argue that it's not just okay. I think it's like a necessary part of the process.
Yes.
Because I think that like, I'm gonna end there.
Oh,
that was
it's
it.
obligatory.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's mandatory homework.
Yeah. This conversation we've never had. We decided to just like do this podcast and talk about it. And when you said that, you know, Cato was affected, like you guys have whatever conversation that you had about your schedule and you're realizing these things. I feel like I'm coming out right now. I am directly affected by it as a friend as well. It's something that Steph says a lot.
I'm really getting slammed today.
Every day. I feel like I'm in couples therapy right now.
Really? I'm not gonna lie, when I heard you talking earlier, I was like, I feel like this is definitely a reference to a direct relationship that I'm familiar with.
So Steph says like, man, it's been a day. Or like, it's been a week, y'all. Like she always says it that way. It's been a day, or like it's been a week, y'all. Like there's always a y'all at the end. And I'm at a place where she said it before, but as of the past few months, it's been a far more consistent thing that I hear. And that alerted me, like, I don't know how to support Steph right now. I'm like, do I ask her? Like, what the fuck do I do or say? Like, the other day, I didn't know what to do, and she, you know, she said, it's been a day. I'm like, man, it's only, like, 11 a.m. So after training, I went to go get In-N-Out for her, because the night before, she says that she's been craving In-N-Out, and I'm like... Really? I don't like In-N-Out. But I went there just to get her shit. I don't know, maybe it's like an Asian love language to just like, I don't know what the fuck you need, so here, food. Like just make sure that you're eating so you can sustain throughout the day. I don't know what the fuck else to do for you. So I just like knocked on her door, gave her the bag, and I left. Like I didn't even want to like stand there and talk. I just gave her the bag and I left. But yeah, I think this is the conversation that I've been wanting to have with you is like, I don't know how to support you when a part of me is like, it hurts to hear a friend say that a lot.
I think this is the first podcast I'm gonna cry in.
Because I think that, why is my voice shaking? I think that since the day that we've met, like we've been on this, I think it was like the start of a journey of like, what is burnout? What's this? Like we're just working how we always work, but like what's this? What is this? Huh? And then like 2020 happens and all these articles about burnout come out and it's like, oh, that's what it is. And then we're becoming more conscious about burnout just as the rest of the world was. And now we're looking into tactics. And I've done many workshops on burnout prevention and how to intentionally time block. Like everybody knows how to time block, but how do you do it intentionally? And like preparing yourself for meetings that are one-on-one versus group, like all this shit. And we've been like working on it so much for so long. But as humans do in hustle culture, as entrepreneurs, like we might continue to get back into the cycle of getting caught in the trap and getting caught in the bullshit. And that's a totally understandable. However, we understand that that's a goal of ours. Like as friends, it's not just about support, but also accountability. Mm-hmm. And I would hope that we can hold each other accountable for certain things like integrity or, you know, making sure that we're always running every Thursday. But then I think accountability when it comes to like burnout prevention is also very important, especially if a party says like it is important to them. So now I'm at a point where I don't know how to support. I don't know how to support. I feel like I'm in therapy right now.
That was such a fellowship
I don't
thing
know how to support you when you say it's been a week, because it's as if like every week you say that, or like it's been a day. And it's like you say that almost every day now, and I don't know what to do. I shut down. I want to leave you alone. Like I think maybe we haven't seen each other because of that. I'm just like, it's like swinging my legs. I'm like, okay. Here I go with the hurt teenage Jiggy, triggered by her ex, and therefore I shut down and I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Mm. Thanks for sharing. We'll start off with that. I hear your care. And
thank God you hear the care, because I'm like, I don't mean to.
No, I really do. I really do. And the only reason why sorry, this is like amusing to me because I literally experienced the same thing towards you. So like that's why like dude, you're literally going through the hardest things, and I'm just sitting here like, maybe if I throw her a cookie, like she'll fucking feel better. Maybe I'll just like make a breakfast and shit yourself fucking food. Like,
remember a few episodes ago, I said that our integrity are so aligned.
Like, it's not
we
funny.
just keep trying to do the same shit to each other. How do I support you? How do I support you? It's like the spider man and me pointing at each other.
I know. I'm just laughing because I really do feel the care, like, and I also feel the helplessness. Like I think like I relate to that, like, in a sense, because I'm also just like, dude, like, I don't know what to do when you're like going through so much. Like I'm not a therapist. I've never fucking like help somebody. I don't know anyone who has experienced like what you've experienced, right? And there's like parts of me that feel like I know what I'm feeling when I'm throwing you shit and throwing you food and like all this stuff. It's actually I know it's like in an attempt to say that I love and appreciate you and I hope you're doing okay, but like there's also a part of it that's like, I just don't know what else to do, you know? Like I want you to like feel better, but like I can't fucking fix it. And like it comes from the like I just want to fix it, but like I can't. And so like I know it comes from a sense of like helplessness, which like I've had to kind of sit with. Like I just remember one night this week I was like, she doesn't want my cookie, like fuck, like that's it, it's over.
Okay.
Like our friendship's
That's still some context in there. You can't just say I didn't want your cookie.
No, I know. I went out to get cookies with Megan, and then like I was like, oh, maybe like I'll just get one for Jiggy too, and like I'll just drop it off for her. Maybe it'll help her feel better. But like I know she just wasn't in the mood to like see anyone, which I had to like just respect. Like I think that was like part of the like navigation of it, was just like, what am I actually hearing from you? And I'm just like, I'm hearing that you actually want space and not necessarily for these things. Yeah.
I directly said I'm not in the space to see people.
Yeah, no, I think, which is like it goes back to just like that's all we can do. So I started realizing like what I was doing was like throwing stuff out of my own like fear of like not being there for you, right? Versus like actually like supporting you. Yeah. Like it's me fumbling through that versus like, oh, like now we're having this conversation about how the fuck to support each other. So here we are.
I think I don't like the word fumbling through because do you know what a fumble is?
In football?
Football?
Do you know who you're asking?
Do you know?
No.
That's why I asked.
No, I don't.
Because when it comes to sports, I have to clarify.
Yeah.
When you got me the cookie, I was like, Steph's love language when she wants to take care of somebody is to like think of them and give them something. So that's why yesterday, we have a group chat with the Tuesday service girls, and I said, she was going around checking in with everybody. She was like one person in the group chat, like, what are you, Jiggy, how are you? Jamie, how are you? And I was just like sharing my piece, and I said, guys, like, this is some of the things that I'm going through right now. And then I was like sitting with it, and I was like, that's not clear enough. And I said, and my request to be supported at this time, don't buy me anything, make me anything, don't get me anything.
It was a direct response. But you know, send through a group chat.
Because like friends, I have a lot of friends who do that. They want to like buy shit, and for me, I think it depends on the situation. Oh, okay. For example, I came home from Korea, guys, and on my table it said "Welcome home," and I was like, it wasn't like handcrafted, handmade. It was so fucking cute. And then, bitch got me kimbap and dessert, and I was like, that was the shit. Thank you. That was awesome. That was like,
You're welcome.
That hit. But this time around, I think to support me is to give me my space. And I think maybe, you know, that's like a foreign concept to people, to friends, like friends who support each other so much and love each other so much. Like, you always want to like show up for that person, literally. Like, and what do you mean, like, to support you is by not being there for you, like, but it's not that you're not being there for the person, it's just you're just not physically there. I remember when my dad passed away, I asked all of my friends to not check in with me constantly because that would burn me out. Because that would be like repetitively me at that point probably just copying and pasting text, and that's already taking up a lot of bandwidth. And I learned that from my mom passing away. So yeah, I think it's tough to like navigate needs and then to also like communicate it, because like, why should you have to communicate your boundaries and needs when you're already going through the shit and you already like barely have bandwidth to talk? Yeah. Sometimes it's like, can't you just figure it out on your own and just leave me alone, get the hint? But it's like, no, because your friends love you and they want to be there to support you. And maybe like right now I need my solitude, but I know that as soon as I open my door, there will be Steph and not a sink. Oh, I must say the edits from episode 4 was so freaking good. You didn't finish.
I didn't finish it.
It's very good.
I think it would make sense to answer your question about how to support me.
Okay.
I actually don't know what that looks like. Like, I've never actually like been explicit about this towards like anyone, because I think also to understand what you need, it's like experimentation as well. Like, I'm not one. I've like never lived this close to like somebody that's like my BF like best friend. You know, like, and so it's very different for me to like know that you're physically downstairs. Like
I can literally
like you
come
can,
upstairs and knock on your door, it's not working.
yeah. Like it's a little bit different for me. Like, and I think the reality is like supporting someone is like really intimate, and I don't know how to like enter that space. Like, that space is actually very scary for me, so I actually don't know what that looks like, especially between like friends, and that's pretty good.
Just fixing my shirt here.
Yeah, and like I just wow, this is really me fumbling through this process too. It is fumbling. It is like being messy, I think, is a more accurate term. But yeah, first of all, this is the most
I keep thinking about you fumbling, and I'm like thinking about like a skier, like fumble, like rolling down.
No, that's how I feel. That's how I feel. I don't, because I'm new to like recovering from burnout. Like I don't know what that looks like. Like I don't think I've ever even shared with you what that experience is like, and but that's on me to share with you, right? And I don't like, I just haven't gone there yet, or like I'm like afraid to go there because I think it's just like really scary in general. But I think in terms of support, like when I say those things, like when I say it's been a week, like I don't think there's anything to really do. Like I think I shared that with you because it's like I feel comfortable sharing that with you. And that in and of itself is already, to me, like I don't share that with everyone. Like most people receive the very happy, nice voice memo stuff. Not the
Sometimes she goes into meetings with like a client or something, and she'd be like, "It's been a day," or like, "I had a pretty rough day, but I'm fine." Like you've done that once at a call, yes. And I was like, "You're smiling as you say it."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so I think I'm just working on being more congruent about my experiences, and at the same time, like, I think I'm in a process of like figuring out what support like looks like for me, and I also, like, for example, like this morning, like when we went to get breakfast, I was like, oh, I didn't know I needed this, but I needed it. Yeah, but it wasn't like a and like I like it never occurred to me to think about that because I'm just like burnt out thinking about all things, and so it didn't occur to me that like this is something I can ask for. It's like, hey, can we just like go get breakfast? Because I usually process and do this stuff on my own. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I don't know, that's a really roundabout kind of like I'm just figuring out as I go mm-hmm. through that. I don't know, I never knew what it was like to like actually have people really be this close to how I operate. Like that in and of itself is scary. So that's actually what Kato like essentially discovered in the last 4 weeks, is just like what it really looks like to like be in the presence of Steph when she is in the trenches of doing all this stuff. I don't let people into that because I think it's too like it's scary to know the impact. So I've been avoiding letting people in to see that. Yeah, but
the whole world sees it now.
And this episode is a tell-all on Steph's life.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I think yeah, it's just vulnerability is hard. I think this is what it means to be like vulnerable, right? It's just like to actually venture to these places. It's still scary for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
2 thoughts. 1,
and I'm so hungry now. Sorry.
1 is that if I were to answer the question that I asked you about how I would like what I can do to support you,
mm-hmm.
The truth is there's nothing I can do for you. It has to be you doing it for yourself. And I'm really good at accountability. But other than that, or like words of support and affirmation, but it's not like when you tell me you've had a tough week, I'm gonna say it's okay, because to me I'm never gonna think that it's okay for a friend to have a tough week.
I see that.
And you know, I always, say what I mean and mean what I say. So let me know when you find out.
Figure it out.
And, we can try different things. And, I get really excited when Steph sets boundaries. It's one of my favorite things. I remember in 2020, we were all navigating how to, like, work from home and things like that. And working from home means you are available to work at almost all times because the computer is right there. And I remember, like, one time, Steph wrote in the Slack and she was like, these are my work hours. After these hours, I will not answer your emails, phone call, text, nothing about work. I'm gonna da-da-da-da-da. And I was so excited that I wrote it on the post-it note and put it next to my computer. And I was like, these are Steph's working hours, exclamation point. Or like like 2 episodes ago when I was like, oh, Steph set a boundary. It's a big deal when Steph sets a boundary. Now it's about sticking to those boundaries.
Yes.
I forget what my other thought was gonna be.
Should you do the Baymax sound?
But
I think we are in a live
Oh!
process of Go right ahead.
Sometimes you need a homie to get you out the house. I say that because, like, again, working from home, I think that it's like work is so easily accessible that it's easy to just kind of stay home. This is where we work. This is where we sleep. This is where we have guests. This is where we eat. And so the home just becomes, I remember once our Kaylani posted, like, make your home a home, not an office space. And I was like, oh yeah, when I move into my new apartment, like, it's gonna be a home, not an office. But then here I am, like, I still don't have a couch because I'm like, where should my desk go? Like, I moved in April. It's about to be September and I still don't have a couch because I'm like, where would it face? Like, but the desk. Do I love this where my desk is at right now? Like, do I want it against the wall or away from the wall? Do I want it on this side or this side? Like, all I'm thinking about is where the fuck the desk is gonna go. And not about where I'm gonna have, like, a couch where I can just chill. Like, I don't even have a coffee table or a rug. Remember how excited I was about getting a new rug? I still don't have a rug. There's no living room there. It's an office space.
We gotta get you a rug.
It's an office space. But anyways, so it can be so easy to just get caught up in, like, work nowadays, especially from, like, working from home. And something that I'm realizing that is, like, the home cannot be a place where I process everything. I want the home to be a place of just rest and coming home to, not a place where I'm also stressed about work, because, like, the energy then that's being filled in the home is confused. How can you ever come back home and feel actually rested if the energy in the home is also holding stress? And so, like, if we're not at a place right now where we can have a WeWork office, shit, I'm noticing, like, I need to get out the house more. Like, I want to start doing work at a coffee shop or that cafe I told you about in the woods. I want to do work in the woods with Wi-Fi. Like, I don't want to do work in home anymore. The home just processes so much already. I want home to be a place where I come to rest. Not just ugh. So yeah. So I remember, like, when my mom passed away in my first summer in New York without my mom, all I did was just, like, stay in the basement. When I used to live in a stranger's basement with no windows. That should be a book name, because I keep talking about the basement with no windows. But I used to live in a basement with no windows after my mom passed away. And like, the only way that I was getting out of the house is when Gloria would force me to come out. Like, the home can really, man, when you're stuck with your own thoughts, in your own energy, in your own home, it can get really fucking dark and toxic. So sometimes we be needing that friend to just get you out. That's why I'm, like, training a lot right now, because, like, I don't have anywhere else to go.
You know what we need? We need Noah.
We need
Noah.
We need Noah.
Noah's coming back in a month, so he might make a special appearance in the podcast. Can you imagine him here, like, while we are... Dude, that's a...
Just you wait. Oh
We'll just like pass Noah. Like
I'm holding the speaking stick right now. I'm holding Noah. I'm still talking. Just pet him while you.
Yeah. It sounds like the promise that we were making is to get out of the house more.
But like actually doing it, not like just like talking about it. Yeah, that sounds good. Okay.
Next
I
episode.
have a confession.
What?
Over the weekend, I told you, I think I'll go to Malibu this week. You're like, oh yeah, let me know. Like when you go, I'll accompany you. And in my head, I was like, no, you're not. And I told her, I think I'll go Tuesday.
Yeah.
Monday, she sends out a Slack message about a secret project that she's working on. And she said that, oh, I'm available if you want to be involved, like, at these times. Monday at this time, Tuesday at this time, Wednesday this time, Thursday this time, or even next week. And I was like, oh, Tuesday's in there. So, yeah, she's not going with me Tuesday.
Okay, you know what I just realized? I didn't know it was an invitation. I thought you were just telling me, like, you're gonna go on Tuesday. Like, I was like, oh, okay, like, it sounds like she just wants to let me know, like, where she's at. She probably just wants to, like, just be by herself. So I actually assumed that, like, yeah, that's why I made myself available on Tuesday, because I didn't know that it was an invitation.
This is what I mean when I say that when your integrity is so aligned, things like this happen. Where the person wants to support you, and so you tell them like when it's gonna happen, but then the other person is like, oh, but maybe she wants her solitude, so it gets missed.
Yeah.
Well, I went on Tuesday.
It sounds like
and
we
it was
could be more
lovely.
clear.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that next time I'm gonna be like, this is when I'm going, this is where I'm going. Option 1, yes, you would like to go. Option 2, I would like to go, but at a different date or time.
No,
Option 3, no. Dude, I used to do that with my friends, like, back in the day. I used to give them multiple choices. I'd be like, option 1, 2, 3.
You're such a great friend.
Because I hate back and forth. I just want to, like, get it done and over with. And so I would just, like, send them text, be like, this is what I'm doing at this time, at this date. Would you like to come with me? Yes? No? At a different time?
How was it, though? Did you enjoy it?
What?
The beach?
Oh, yeah. I love that beach. And I love going during a weekday because nobody's there.
Yeah.
There was this cute little, like, heart-shaped flower thing, and you can tell somebody got proposed there, and it's, fills my Libra heart. Let me tell you about these, what are they called, seagulls? At the beach, though. Cali birds are made different, let me tell you. These motherfuckers, like, they be watching. And then as soon as, like, people leave their blanket and their bags to go into the water, first of all, I would never leave my shit, okay? I make sure that at least one person is keeping watch. But apparently people in Cali just, like, leave all their shit because they trust other people and then go into the water. As soon as these birds see you leaving to go to the water, they know to go into your bags, and they know what bag of chips look like. And then they pull that shit out the bag, start ripping that shit apart, and start eating it. Eating all the chips. It's like, I'm not gonna say it, it's very graphic. But it's like a gang pulling up, snatching your shit. And then they don't fear no human when they come and try to be like, yo, go away from my shit. They only be like, do. And then as soon as the person leaves, they go back. They don't fear humans. They just stand there, like, keep trying to eat their little shit out the bag. In San Diego, when I used to live in San Diego, I have seen a squirrel go into a bag, pull out a container, open the lid, and eat that shit. Cali birds, Cali squirrels, beach animals in particular, Oh, squirrels in Cali go to the beach, by the way. They're also like perfectly tan and very thin. Like very Cali, like they're like on a diet and they're like perfectly tan and their fur is so soft, I feel like. And they know how to they just hide in the rocks, appear as soon as somebody leaves their shit, go in and eat your shit.
Okay. What do New York squirrels do then? Like,
they just yap and talk shit. I don't think I've ever seen squirrels at the beach in New York.
well, I'm glad the squirrels and the seagulls feel like they belong at the beach. Okay. That is a little savage, though. How the fuck did we end up here?
We were talking about Malibu. What time is it? Okay, 4:30. It's time to end. Because we time blocked the podcast. What's your takeaway?
What's my takeaway? I think that for me, the most meaningful part of the podcast this time around was actually, like, you being very direct with, like, what you're experiencing. And I think the takeaway for me is to experiment, like, be willing to experiment with different, like, ways of being more vulnerable or sharing with you, like, my experiences, and seeing, like, how that can also, like, evolve our relationship. Yeah, that's my takeaway. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was a very special conversation. I was not expecting to.
This is some exclusive shit, y'all. Like, shit. This you can't get shit like this anywhere else. One thing I want to voice to all of my friends, because I know all of my friends watch the podcast, is I really want to make it clear to everybody that I don't expect friends to show up with me all the time, every single time. I don't expect people to support me perfectly. I just don't, because I know, I've always said this, but, like, I know it's hard being friends with me.
Bitch, it is not. Okay, hold the. You said that, or somebody said that? What was it? Is this a story, or somebody told you it's hard to, like, be friends?
It's
with
not
you?
easy,
like,
being friends with me, and it's not easy being my partner.
I have a very different experience.
No,
If you want
you're new here. You know what my friends say? My friends who have known me for, like, over 10 years, you know what they say? At this point, they say that my life is a movie, and they're just sitting there with popcorn. Okay. Because something's always happening.
I mean, okay, yeah, something is always. I mean, something's always been happening since, like, we were friends, but, like.
Yeah. However, I do have that narrative also because I shared it on my close friends, like, a week ago, that what I share with my friends isn't all of what I'm experiencing.
Of course.
Because, one, I don't want to be a burden, because I don't want my friends to be hard on themselves on not knowing how to show up for me or fumbling on how to show up for me. And I also don't want to take up all of their bandwidth, and I don't want them to get tired of me because I'm always going through something.
Well, I will make an invitation to that and make space for you to share all the things that you actually want, and I will make the choice to let you know whether it's, like, too much or, like, a lot. Like,
No.
I think, like, what the fuck?
No.
Okay, you can make that choice, but I'm just letting you know that my door is closed, but you know what I mean, it's open. My metaphorical door is open.
We need a mini door.
We should start a store that has tiny. We should start a tiny store. That'd be kind of cute.
Oh my god, bitch. I just got so excited. I'm like, oh, we should have like a whole like tiny chef show where it's like, oh, a whole one day we're gonna have a podcast episode where it's not us but like playing with little toys. It's gonna be like, wow, bitch, there's a knock at the door, and there's a door, and then there's a tiny little sink.
There's a sink. I knew.
Oh my god, you know when like Mr. Rogers start, they always like
the little
zoom through the little neighborhood.
Yeah.
That's gonna be our intro one day. We're gonna have a little like energy and heart village.
Oh my god, will it have like?
Oh my god! And we're just gonna zoom over a door, a sink, a hand and a knee. There's no
a little
table.
shell chair.
Chair.
A little painting.
What a dream.
Oh, I actually think that'd be kind of cute.
Fuck. Tune in next week.
Well, I'm just leaving that open. So I'm just letting you know, like, you don't have to take it. I'm just letting you know it's available. You don't have to take it.
It's tough to. It's contradicting and tough to hear when a friend tells me that they're having a week and they're having a day, but then telling me they have bandwidth to support me.
Oh, I see the dilemma that you're like sharing. Yeah.
Tune in next time.
Okay, one last thing, because when you say that, right, then my head's just thinking like, okay, I should just like not tell her it's a day so that she thinks that I have bandwidth, so that she feels like it's okay to like share these things, right? Like, I sometimes think it's like it's bandwidth, and it's also like okay, to me it's like my friends need something, I will like be there for them regardless. It like,
yes.
Yeah.
I would literally give my liver for my friends.
Yeah, so like I just like I want you to also like know that that's like how I feel.
Just wanting to respect each other's bandwidth.
Yeah, I don't want you to think on my behalf. You know what I mean? Like I think there are times for that, but like I think there are times where it's like, hey, like you are experiencing something really difficult. Like I, as a friend, would want to be there for you. Does that make sense? Like, and I think you feel the same way. Like I don't think you would want me to like say like, hey, you know, like.
When I edit this, I'm gonna do a replay, and it's gonna go.
To what?
And you're gonna say,
I don't want you to think on my behalf.
I don't want you to think on my behalf.
And that's gonna be like the play highlight. You might not even know what a play highlight is.
I'm learning week by week.
It's when you do a very good job and the TV networks replay a play, like a slam dunk.
Yeah, so like that's the thing you're gonna post on Instagram.
Like with slow motion.
Yeah. You know what?
Let's not make it awkward once the podcast ends and we have to like look at each other.
You know the laugh's good when you don't hear sound.
When you're like oh.
I think that's a good place to close it out. Good job. Okay, if you have other opinions, that's okay too.
This is such a dope podcast. Like, who gets content like this? You know, like a business personal development podcast that doesn't tell you to lose sleep and actually encourages you to rest and to show up authentically in your relationships, and teaches you how to do communication skills, but also like real-time vulnerability and showing you how it is, how it like messy it is, and like that we're not perfect, but look at us go, like look at us try, like what the fuck, we deserve a Nobel Prize. Did I ever tell you that that's like in my wish list, like it's my vision board?
Your wish list? Your vision board?
I wanna.
No, I never. No,
you
no, you didn't tell me that. I think that's exciting.
One day.
And you'll witness us the whole way till Jiggy gets there.
See you in 20 years.